A very good morning to all the students. Today we are going to study Social Science, Chapter 6, World After 1945. See, in this part 1, we are going to discuss about the United Nations Charter and also the Cold War consequences and the reasons. All this we are going to discuss in part 1. Now let us start with part 1. Chapter 6, After 1945. So, the pages of history are full of innumerable wars fought in ancient India and the world. See, in the pages of history, when we see there are the innumerable wars that been fought in ancient India and the world also, yet the most destructive war which will always be remembered in the modern world is the First and the Second World War. See, the war which will be remembered is which one? First and Second World War. And the League of Nations was formed with the purpose of establishing permanent peace in the world. And in this way, the League of Nations that was being formed, and what was the purpose of establishing? For permanent peace there should be in the world. But what happened? Due to certain limitation, it failed. And in 1939, World War II broke out, and this disturbed the state of mind, and the horrors of World War II persuaded human beings to once again and make efforts for peace and protection of independence. What happened because of this result in the establishment of the United Nations in the year 24th October 1945? See, what was which organization that established at the end of the World War, if it is asked, and why? See, after what happened after the First World War was there, the countries of the world, they established an organization that was called the League of Nations. And what was the aim of them? To maintain world peace and prevent wars. And however, what happened? The League could not stop only the power of hungry nations, and it failed when the Second World War broke out in the year 1939. See, after the Second World War, a large unemployment, epidemics, crowds of death and ruins, economic shook the world. In this way, the world was being shook, and the countries of the world finally what they realized a serious need to establish a world organization which would maintain peace and harmony in the world. So owing to this need, United Nations organization, that is UNO, that was established on when 24th October 1945, and it was the later renamed as United Nation. Now we'll see about the United Nations Charter. See, 26 United Nations Charter, now that is on 26 June 1945 in San Francisco, at the conclusion of United Nations Conference on International Organization, and they came into force on 24th October 1945. That was about the United Nations Charter. The United Nations Charter starts with the preambles, and it explains the goals of United Nations below given as the goals. See, it was been started at the preambles. See, after the Second World War, large scale unemployment, crores of death, and ruined economy that shook the world. And the countries of the world finally realize a serious need to establish a world organization which would maintain peace and harmony. And because of this, United Nations was established. And United Nations Charter, they start with preambles, that is introductions. The preambles that explains the aim of United Nations, they are as follows. There is a determination to save the future generation from the pangs means strong feeling of emotions of physical pain, which is a of all destructive wars. See, United Nation makes a determination to save the future generation from destructive wars by preventing wars. Here emphasizes has been laid on responsibility born out of international laws and mutual understanding. See, it emphasized what that the countries of the world should obey international laws and they should move ahead with mutual understanding also. The second one is emphasis has been laid on developing tolerance mutually so that the whole world develops socially. See, it emphasized what that the country should develop tolerance towards the other countries so that the whole world they develop socially. Economic, third one, economic, social, and cultural problems should be solved with the intervention of United Nations and human rights as well as the basic freedom should be this as disseminated means to spread information or knowledge or ideas. That is the meaning of disseminated, irrespective of caste, language, gender, or religion. See, economic and social and cultural problems that should be solved with the help of United Nations and human rights and basic freedom should be provided to all, irrespective to their caste, language, gender, or religion. Lastly, appeal to all the nation for cooperation to achieve this objective. See, the United Nations they appeal to all the nations to cooperate with these objectives. Thus, United Nations Charter concludes that uh, dismissals of war and constant urge of for peace is the main objective of the United Nations. See, the main objective what was to have peace. Yeah, in there should be peace and harmony in the world. That was about the United Nations Charter. Now we will see is the Cold War that was in the year 1945 1962 and all the reasons and the consequences. Though the World War II got over, it resulted into creations of America and Russia as the superpowers while taking the place of England and France. See, England and France were the two superpowers till the Second World War. See, what is a Cold War? See, Cold War, not the extremely tense situation that arose between the two powers bloc, namely America and Russia after the Second World War. That is known as Cold War situation. And see, in that the Cold War situation, America and Russia as the superpowers while taking the place of England and France. In war, England, France, Russia, and America were together, but Russian administration's policies created differences, and thus America and England separated. See, moreover, England, France, Russia, and America were in the same group during the war. But after the war, this situation changed, and America and Russia they emerged as the superpowers, whereas England and France lost this status. A strong competition between the two superpowers, that is America and Russia, to establish supremacy over the world emerged after the Second World War. See, America and Russia to establish their supremacy over the world, they emerged after Second World War, and the power was centralized between two poles, that is America and Russia. Therefore, this time period is considered as bipolar world order. See, as a result, what happened? America and Russia they had different ideologies, and so the two got separated. America followed democracy while Russia communism. See, this resulted what in a strong competition between these two superpowers to establish supremacy over the world. And there were the two poles that become America and Russia, and therefore this time period that was considered as the bipolar world order. See, bipolarity that can be defined as the system of the world order in which the majority of global economic, military, and cultural influence is held between two states. And the classic case of bipolar world is that of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet state, which dominated the second half of the 20th century. That was about the bipolar. Owing to extremely tense relationship between two power blocs, this phase is known as Cold War phase. At various incidents, both the superpowers almost came into conflicts with one another. See what happened. Many this there was America and Russia. They had a different ideology, and this resulted in a strong competition between these two superpowers. And many countries that believed in American ideology, they joined the hands of America, and those believed in communism, they joined Russia. And see, this again resulted in the divisions of the power that was between the two major group, or say poles, or one led to America and the other by Russia. And the concentration of the power between these two poles, that is America and Russia, was considered as the bipolar world order. And owing to extremely tense relationship that was between these two power blocks, this phase is known as Cold War phase. And at various incidents, both the superpowers almost they came into conflicts with one another and might have resulted in a major war but did not. There was a basic change in the relations among the powerful nations of the world after the World War. See, after the Second World War, the relationships and the powers of various nations that has changed drastically. America and the Soviet Union, who had once aligned and fought against the Nazis, Germany, and the fascist Italy, emerged as a leader of the two rival power blocs and military powers. See, America and the Soviet Union, who before the war had aligned and fought against the Nazis Germany and the fascist Italy. They emerged as a leader of two rival powers bloc and military powers. This resulted in the Cold War between them. Thus, the Cold War started between them, though Britain and France also emerged victoriously, yet they lost the status of the great power due to terrible ruinations caused by the average of the war and ending of imperialism. Germany, Italy, and Japan not only lost the war but also were ruined economically, politically, and militarily. See, on the other hand, what happened? Britain and France, who were the superpowers before the war and also had won in the war, they lost their status of power, superpower after the war. Britain and France lost their status of superpowers due to the terrible loss and destruction that they suffered in the war and the end of their imperialism in the world. Germany, Italy, and Japan not only lost the war, but what happened? They also ruined economically, politically, and militarily. After the war, Soviet Union, that is Russia, captured the eastern areas of Germany and the other eastern countries like Austria, Albania, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Satso, Slovakia, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, and the Baltic states. And later on, they gave away the reins of power to respective communist party of those countries. And this they did this to continue their superiority on these countries. See, after the war, Soviet Union, that is Russia, they captured eastern areas of Germany and other eastern countries, that the Austria, Albania, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, and Baltic states, all this. However, later they gave back their reins of power to respective communist parties of of those countries, all this. And before what happened, and during 1949, by conducting a test, the Soviet Union directly challenged the monopolist nuclear powers of America, and meanwhile, democratic system was gradually established in the Western European countries that were liberated by British and American forces. See, before 1949, only America had the nuclear bomb. And in 1949, the Soviet Union conducted a nuclear test to display its ability in nuclear power against America. And gradually, what happened? The countries of Western Europe who had attained freedom from Britain and America, they adopted democracy. So this was all about how did the rule and the power of the countries that changed after the Second World War, and what is the we have discussed about what is Cold War and the reasons of it. I hope you have understood till here. Thank you.